everybody. It's Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. here. We've come together today to protest this coup d'etat by this global public health cartel led by Bill Gates and the WHO. It wants to magnify and amplify its wealth and its power over our lives, over our liberties. During the Great Depression, Franklin Roosevelt, who was one of the greatest presidents in American history, said to the American people, the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. And he recognized that the weapon of authoritarian control was going to be fear. And when I spoke a few weeks ago in Berlin, I reminded the people of Germany of a very famous story that happened during the Nuremberg trials after World War II, when Hitler's closest lieutenant, the head of the Luftwaffe, Hermann Goering, was asked by one of the prosecutors, how did you take these people who were so well educated and so awakened and so tolerant and turn them into obedient slaves who committed some of the worst atrocities in human history? And Goering said, oh, that's a simple thing. The job of the government is to put the people in fear. And if you can keep them in fear, you can get them to do anything that you want them to do, that they will turn into sheep. And authoritarian elements in a society, and large corporations, and wealthy plutocrats and oligarchs, wealthy families and individuals, use crises to shift wealth upward, to obliterate the middle classes of those countries, and to clamp down totalitarian controls in order to transform the government so that it will reward the rich with even more wealth. The people who want to do that in the large corporations, who want to orchestrate that kind of change, have to get rid of civil rights. And the first civil right that they begin with is freedom of speech. They need to clamp down censorship. If a government can hide what it's doing, it can get away with anything it wants. If a corporation can lie to you and conceal information, if there's no transparency in a democracy, you do not have a democracy. So if you want to get rid of all the other rights, like freedom of assembly, which you are exercising today, some of you are exercising at great threats. Some of you will suffer. Some of you will be jailed. Some of you will suffer injuries. But that is a basic right. The right to freedom of expression, the right to jury trial, the right to freedom of religion, the right to privacy, the right to have governments that don't spy on you and keep your information. All of those other rights can only be subverted if they begin by imposing censorship, by being able to silence people who want to speak. So the coup d'etat that we are all fighting today is a coup d'etat that starts with a conspiracy between the government agencies and the big technology companies, the Silicon Valley billionaires, people like Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, to make sure that we cannot talk about our grievances. We cannot say bad things about pharmaceutical products. We cannot question government policies that make no sense to us. Most Americans and most of the people on this planet, we want leadership, but we don't want bullying. And we know the difference between bullying and leadership. We want to know the truth about hydroxychloroquine. We want to know why are we spending $18 billion on vaccines and only $1.4 billion on therapeutic drugs. What is the sense of that? There are many, many other questions that we in a democracy have a right to have answered without being called conspiracy theorists, without being vilified as being inconsiderate or being bad citizens. We need to fight to get our democracy back. to reclaim our democracy from these villains who are stealing it from us. You know, we've had plenty of pandemics in the past. In 1969, we had a Hong Kong flu pandemic that killed 100,000 people in the United States. It's the equivalent of 200,000 people today. That's the same number of people who are being killed by coronavirus. Did we go into lockdown? No. Did we wear masks? No. We went to Woodstock. We went to the Democratic Convention in Chicago and had huge crowds of people. But the big tech villains and scoundrels and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeffrey Bezos and Bill Gates and Tony Fauci want you to do is they want us fighting with each other. Because they know that if we all get together, we're going to start asking questions. And those are questions that they can't answer. Why are you getting rich and why are we all getting poor? You are on the front lines of the most important battle in history, and it is the battle to save democracy and freedom and human liberty and human dignity from this totalitarian cartel that is trying to rob us simultaneously in every nation in the world of the rights that every human being is born with. So thank you for your courage. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for your brotherhood, and I can pledge to you that I will go down dying with my boots on, fighting side by side with all of you to make sure that we return these rights and preserve them for our children, and I will see all of you on the barricades. Thank you.